All right, it's 7 p.m. on September 8th, 2025. We're going to begin this regular meeting of the Rutherford Board of Education. We'll ask everyone who can to please stand, face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Mr. Whitford, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Present.
Mrs. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Conti?
Present.
Mr. Healy?
Here.
Mrs. Jones?
Present.
Mr. Maison?
Here.
Dr. Racine?
Here.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Here.
Dr. Eladi?
Here.
Ms. Iorio?
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right. Mrs. Ostroff, are the video's working okay? You can hear me okay? All right. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meeting of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Rutherford Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place posted on the bulletin board outside the Borough Clerk's office, mailed to the Herald, South Bergenite, and the Record newspapers, and filed with the Borough Clerk. Hard copies of the agenda are available in the meeting room, and the agenda is posted electronically on Friday before the meeting date on the district's website at www.rutherfordschools.org. Subsequent to the meeting, a video of the meeting will be updated to the district's website, www.rutherfordschools.org. The video link can be found by opening the Board of Education link and clicking on Public Meetings and then Videos. All right, board members, in your packets, there are two sets of minutes to approve, the regular meeting minutes and executive session minutes from August 18th, 2025. Any questions about those? Seeing none, I'll ask Mr. Whitford to please enter those. And we are very excited to welcome back our student representative, Sarah Iorio, for her second year. Excellent. So I will turn it over to you for the report of the student representative.
Thank you. Good evening. I hope you all had a great summer. With school just starting, there's a lot of energy in the building and everyone's really happy to be back. Fall sports have just opened up and are going very well so far. The football team is now 2-0 after a win on Friday. Many RHS clubs are starting to have their first meetings this week to plan for the year ahead. The fall pep rally is this Friday, September 12th, and so is the senior sunrise, which my class is definitely looking forward to. Back to school night is next Thursday, September 18th, and many student council members will be volunteering to help any parents with questions. The freshman class will also be electing their student council representatives soon. And students are getting excited for the homecoming dance coming up on October 3rd, as well as the parade and football game the next day. And we will be electing the homecoming court soon. So that's all I have for tonight with school just starting, but I'm looking forward to another year of these reports.
All right, thank you.
Walking around looking lost.
A little bit.
So what are you most looking forward to this year?
I don't know. I guess the end of the year stuff like prom and stuff, but that's still a little far away.
Got it. I'm glad you named something specific as opposed to just end of the year.
Yeah.
But no, that sounds great.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned the energy, and I do think that this year, when I walked around, I may have mentioned this in the communication I sent to you folks. When I went to every building on opening day, it really was. You didn't know it was opening day. I mean, the classrooms in all the grade levels, there was instruction going on. It was order already in the, even in the elementaries where, the kids have to kind of get reacclimated to lining up and moving to class. You would think we were a couple of weeks in, and that's a credit to the students, and it's a credit to the faculty and staff and the administration. It really was a very good opening, and a lot of positive energy coming in. So we want to keep that going, right? We're going to keep that going all year. So thank you, and thank the students.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions from board members?
Have a wonderful year.
Thank you.
Thank you, and you're more than welcome to stay.
I don't know yet.
Yeah, we know you don't have any homework yet. It's too early in the year.
But yeah, you can feel free to stay, and if you have other obligations this evening, we understand that as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I will turn it over to Mr. Hurley for the report of the superintendent.
Thank you. And just to echo what we just talked about, a good opening. We also had a good, very good and productive new teacher orientation. And I thank Mrs. Jones and Mr. Healy for being at the luncheon. We also, I think, had a really good opening, as we always do, both the big meeting with the entire district and Dr. Aladi's video, as always, well received. And Mrs. Jones, as normal, makes an appearance, and we appreciate her being there. And then the rest of the day and a half was, I think, I'm sure, more productive for the teachers as they went back to their buildings and were able to get, things going. And we had a very good opening. I encourage you, to keep apprised of the calendar on the website, things that we put out, things put out on social media. I'll do my best to always keep you informed of things that are going on. I want to introduce Ms. Jenny Ostroff, who is our new TV person. She's behind the camera, so we welcome her, replacing Mr. Met, who people have heard me mention Mr. Met many, many times throughout the years at meetings. Never saw him. He is a real person, and so is Ms. Ostroff. So we welcome her to the district and welcome her to this role. I don't have a big report tonight, but I do have a couple of reports I have to give, and the first is our CUSAC results. As we talked about last year, CUSAC comes every 3 years. We were rated, again, for those people who are going to be watching this later, that is essentially an audit of our entire operations, every component, instruction program, fiscal management, governance, operations, personnel. It looks at the Board of Education through operations and governance, looks at all of our faculty, staff, programs, co-curricular. And we were once again deemed the highest rating, which is a high-performing district, which in the old days would have meant we would have had a waiver. We don't get the waiver anymore, but I think it's a good thing. I really do think it's a good thing not to have the waiver, because it's a lot of work, but it does make you dive into a lot of areas every 3 years that you might not dive into. The results are pretty much what we expected. We lost a few points in fiscal management. That was due to that purchasing concern that was in 2 audits, and even though that was corrected, right, and we talked about that, if you have a mark in 2 audits, you automatically lose the points. So even though it was corrected before CUSAC came in, and the points in instruction and program, primarily that comes from the state testing. So every year we're scoring in the high 80s because they're looking at the goal for state testing. And even if we're scoring above average, we're still falling a little short. There was one area in one curriculum area that we needed to address. Lost a couple of points there, but that's going to be, I think, addressed through Atlas. So all in all, it was a very good report, pretty much what we expected, and highly performing. You can't be higher than that. Every year I have to give a update on pathways to graduation, and that just tells the public and the board the ways students qualify to graduate based on the graduation test, right? So we had 198 students last year graduate. 6 of them were out-of-district students. 192 were in-district students. The number of graduates who met the graduation assessment either by passing the state test or by a competency test that could be in place of the state test was 173. We had 9 students who had to do the portfolio in math, 9 who had to do both ELA and math, and 2 had to do just ELA. So 20 students graduated by presenting a portfolio that the state reviews as opposed to passing the test. And we had 5 students who met their graduation requirement through alternate requirements specified in their IEPs, through their special education plan. We had 12 students not graduate due to their continuing education in the 18 to 21 program. So they completed their high school requirement. Now they move on to either our Bulldog Academy or they move to an out-of-district placement in 18 to 21. If you recall, that's one of the things I've been talking about, that a group of us superintendents are trying to push the state into recognizing these students as graduates, either at the age of high school or at 21, so they're not marked as a non-graduate. Right now, they're all marked as non-graduates, which is unfair to them and unfair to the district as well. So no student was denied graduation due to the failure to meet graduation assessment requirements. So we were 100% on that, even though our graduation rate won't show 100% because of the 18 to 21 students. So, okay. And the annual, or I guess 2 times a year I have to report, the student safety data system incident report and HIP trainings. So you have the detail report is in the agenda. I like to look at it that we had 51 incidents in the district total for the year that would be quoted as either violence, vandalism, substance, or weapon. And again, those are heavy terms, but they're not necessarily as heavy as they may be. A student that has a penknife with them, that's considered a weapon. Okay, someone who gets into a pushing match, if that's considered a fight, that's violence. Right? So when you have 51 total across 6 buildings and 183 days and 2,700 students, those numbers are not alarming. Okay, at least not to me. The 122 other incidents that led to suspension are things like excessive tardies, maybe disrespectful behavior, failure to comply with an administrative request. They do not rise to the level of state reporting for the big ones, but they still have to be reported to the state. In terms of HIBs, I was surprised last year that we had 4 alleged HIBs and 3 found HIBs. I mean, that's a very low number. And I'd like to think that some of the trainings and programs we're doing are paying off. And the trainings and programs that are reported annually, 63 trainings for the year, programs for the year, those are geared towards students, programs that would be considered positive behavior that would lead to not doing a HIB, right? And 45 trainings as for the faculty and staff. As you probably recall, at either the next meeting or the meeting that follows, you'll be asked to approve our self-assessment score based on the number of trainings and programs. So you're going to see these numbers again. There's a lot of redundancy that I have to do in reporting this data every year. And I know it gets a little confusing sometimes. You see the same number 2 or 3 times. Restraint and seclusion, our special education teachers, our administrators, and some other teachers are trained in safely restraining a student in a special ed program or in any program that may need it. We have to have people trained when you have self-contained classes that we have. We had none last year that we had to do, which again is a good sign, because it doesn't mean the students aren't having certain issues, but we're able to handle them before they get to the point that someone has to do this training. But we do have staff that gets trained every year in doing this properly. Okay. So those are the reports that I have to give. If anybody has any questions, I would be happy to answer them. Other than that, I wanted to mention, I don't know if anybody has any questions. I'll mention the one other thing I wanted to mention. Good? Okay. 2 quick things. Enrollment on the elementary level is always something we're interested in, because it is both the buildings where we have a little less flexibility, and also it means that those numbers are probably going to grow as the years go on. We have 189 total freshmen, grade 1 students. We have 191 grade 2 students, and we have 201 grade 3 students. Those are all pretty healthy class sizes in the elementary level. And we have 180 right now in kindergarten, again, which is a good size to the beginning. So those are, when we look at numbers at 200, we start getting, that's a big class. Well, we have 1 already there, and we have 3 in the on-deck circle. So positive about the school, positive about the community, but again, those numbers are getting large. The parent survey, the first of the surveys we talked about, the ones going out to parent for school climate, is scheduled to go out via Connect 5 message email to parents and guardians on September 10th. It's going to be open until October 3rd. We are sending it strictly to parents, pre-K through 12, including out-of-district students, via email, because we don't want to post it on the web, because we're trying to keep the responses pure, that this is a parent survey. We want parents to answer it, not somebody in Nebraska who happens to go on our website. So if you're a parent of a student in district, you'll see the survey. It closes October 3rd, and then we'll have that company I spoke about will put together a report, give it to me. I'll digest it, and then I'll share it with the board. Okay? So that's where we're at. I'll be speaking of this survey. Again, even though the email is going out on the 10th, at each back-to-school night that I speak at via in person or via the video, I'll be talking to the parents about the survey and encourage them to participate in it. Okay? The one thing that it says 10 to 15 minutes. It shouldn't take anybody 10 to 15 minutes. I think it'd be done quicker. But the one thing that parents, and the directions will explain this, if you have students in multiple buildings, we're going to ask that you do multiple surveys, because it's going to ask that you identify a school, and we'll only let you identify one school. And that's because, regardless of how we may choose to report everything, we want to see what thoughts are about individual schools. I mean, one person might feel that communication from one building is great. They get timely information, not so great in another building. So we want to be able to see, by building, what information's out there. Okay? So that's maybe the only thing that some people might find cumbersome. If they have kids in 3 or 4 schools, they're either going to have to pick one or do it 3 or 4 times. Okay? All right. So that's it for my report. Looking forward to a really good year. I mean, all signs are we're going to have one. And again, homecoming will be coming up. We'll talk about that at the 29th meeting, right? Or you want to talk about tonight? Because we usually have it. Okay, so I'm done.
Yeah. All right. Questions from Mr. Early? My only question, so you talked about some of the grades, like being a little bit large and just being a watch. So as a board, in terms of how we should be thinking about that strategically, there's kind of 2 areas I think about. One is space, and the other is resources, whether it's, personnel, otherwise. So is that how we should be sort of thinking about it down the line?
Well, yes and no, right? I mean, in Kindergarten Center, Washington, Lincoln, we don't have much space other than what we have. It just means larger classes. Ideally, we like to keep classes at 25 or less on those grade levels. So when you get over 200, you're getting over 25. But there isn't really an alternative. Getting another teacher is not necessarily going to help, because there's not another classroom to put them in. The referendum project increased the size of Pierpont and Union School, and to a lesser extent the high school, where larger numbers are more manageable in terms of the way the scheduling works. So I think from space, low 200s are not going to be catastrophic in those buildings per grade level. It could be down the road we do need to look at staffing there, because we might have to run additional sections of English or physical education, when you get to that kind of scheduling. So yes and no. I mean, in the immediate, no. And what we hope that we're able to do, I think teachers and administrators and parents have to understand that if the numbers get a little big in some of those classes, there's not much we could do about it at those grade levels. The only space we had to add in elementary, if you remember, was at Lincoln, where we added the 2 classes, but we didn't have any room at Washington, and we didn't have any room at the K Center when we did the referendum. If you look at also, there is one extra section at Washington, because of the way we assigned our special ed population. We felt it was better to have some of the MD, the multiply disabled classes, instead of having one in Washington and one in Lincoln. We put them both in Lincoln so that the teachers and the aides would have, and able to have collegial interaction. So that allowed Washington to have one extra class. So right now on the grade 2 level, because last year, prior to Miss Saxon coming on, Miss Mulcahy wanted it to be grade 1 the extra section. So grade 2 has 109 students at Washington. There's 82 at Lincoln, but that's because there's 5 sections at Washington. Next year, there's going to be 5 third grade sections because I'll have to move up. After that, we're going to see. I mean, I want to take a look. Maybe having that extra bubble isn't a great thing. You know, we can see how we could balance things differently going forward.
Right.
So that's where we're at. I'm not concerned. You know, in fact, it's a good thing. It's good. You know, instead of having declining enrollment, it's good. Speaks well to the borough. It speaks well to the education system. And as long as the numbers stay manageable, K to 3, you know, we manage when they get to the other grades.
Sounds good. Any questions from board members? All right, hearing none, then we will move on to the report of the president. So just first off, congratulations, Mr. Hurley and team, on a successful beginning of the school year. Hopefully the honeymoon phase of the school year lasts for weeks and weeks.
Depends who you ask.
Yeah. Appreciate also the reflections on the past year, CUSAC, kind of the analysis you did is really helpful just to get a snapshot of some of the big elements of the school year. And good luck with back to school nights, all coming up this week and next week. So 2 things I wanted to briefly touch on. This evening in the curriculum and instruction section, I believe, yes, we will be approving board goals. And since we're recording this evening, I thought I can just sort of elevate those for all the people who will be watching this video at a later point. So over the summer, the board discussed a variety of priorities and goals. And so on the agenda for approval this evening are board goals that first off support the Rutherford Schools district goals. And that's all in the board agenda, but there are a lot of district goals. So that one goal is very meaty, where we're looking to support, align with, and monitor the priorities around strengthening achievement in different subject areas, ELA, science, and math, deepening the integration of the profile of a Rutherford graduate, which is something that was rolled out last year that we were focused on, implementing the Atlas curriculum platform. That's where teachers document curriculum that's happening in all the grade levels and subjects, and advancing the responsible use of artificial intelligence. So that's very exciting to be able to support those things, to hear updates about how those big district priorities are going. As well, our second goal is to support and steward the superintendent's 25-26 comprehensive survey initiative, which is really exciting that we'll be able to hear more about the different survey findings for different folks in the community who are involved with the school to really understand student climate and culture and things that will inform short and long-term planning. And then finally, a board favorite, communication is really important to the board in terms of community outreach. So that continues to be a goal, continuing to implement a board community outreach communications plan and further utilize the board's social media accounts. So I think those are really robust goals. There are 3 goals, but there are probably about 8 goals stuffed into 3. So that is something that can be further discussion once we move into the curriculum and instruction section, but just wanted to elevate that so the community understands those goals. And finally, something that we are going to be doing starting this evening is we're going to be moving forward with a consent agenda at each board meeting moving forward. So I believe the Thursday before a board meeting, the agenda for the board meeting goes up on the district's website. And that means
Friday.
that anyone of the Rutherford schools has access to, is that right, Thursday? Friday before. Anyone who wants to can have access to the board agenda. So what a consent agenda does is allows us to spend less time reading the things that everyone in the community has access to and more time with discussions that are relevant to questions, wanting to hear more about certain areas. So that is something that we think will be helpful. But for those who watch the videos of these meetings or for those who come to the meeting in person, make sure you have the agenda so that you can read all of the different motions that are happening. That is it for my president's remarks? Any questions or comments? All right. Then at 7:25 p.m., we are going to open the meeting to the public for any items related to the agenda. Hearing no comments, we are going to close the meeting also at 7:25 p.m. And we're going to move on to new business where there is action to be taken. And I will turn it over to Mrs. Cole for personnel.
All right, good evening. So I guess I'm going to be the first person to do the consent agenda since I always speak the most.
Yeah, so no pressure.
So for personnel, we did not have a meeting this month, and we have 26 motions to be put forward tonight at the recommendation of the superintendent. And I would like to move all 26 motions as listed under personnel.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Cole. Do we have a second on that? Mr. Bogosian? All right, discussion and questions on any of the items in personnel? No? Okay. All right. Then I will ask Mr. Whitford to please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Maison?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Eladi?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, we are going to move on now to curriculum and instruction. Mr. Jones.
Thank you. We did not have a curriculum and instruction meeting, and tonight there are 7 motions that are put forth on the recommendation of the superintendent.
All right. Would you like to move those?
I move motions 1 through 7.
All right. Do we have a second on that? Mr. Mazzone? All right. Discussion and questions from board members. Mr. Sprayberry.
Yeah, just Mr. Hurley, I see the, JP goes to the academies and stuff, so I'll, kind of follow it as we go through the years and stuff. And like, there's a few years there, the enrollment's a little low. You see like 3 here, see there. And you look at this year in the last few years, you look at it, the enrollment's gone up. Is that due to more applications? Is that due to them opening up their door? Is it? Because, there's a lot. 11 just like at Teterboro alone. That's a lot of kids out of our district, out of Rutherford, which is great.
Right. Some of these programs are general ed kids. Some of these programs are special ed students where their IEP might dictate that. So it could be that some numbers are high is because certain students are as part of their IEP. I think the numbers are pretty consistent. Teterboro is a little higher this year, grade 9. We also see that the numbers do seem to trend lower as time goes on because we do get students who return to district. Some of the programs do a very great job of recruiting, but I think sometimes, the grass seems greener and then they come back. So I don't know specifically why Teterboro has a bump this year. It might be for the reason I gave about certain students with an IEP. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Other questions or comments?
If I could just add the overnight trip number 7, that's always done in advance in the event that we have students who qualifies as overnight trips have to be approved. You'll see some at some point for 1 or 2 athletic events too. And it may turn out that no one qualifies, but to get it approved ahead of time, that's what we do. And I mentioned this to the committee when we met, and I mentioned it at the last board meeting that was not recorded, that I appreciate, and the administrators and supervisors, and I think the faculty appreciate the cohesion of the goals and the support that the board gives by modeling or combining some of the district goals with board goals so that we're all moving in the right direction together. And it sends, I think, a very powerful message to the folks in the buildings that the board is behind the initiatives going on. So I appreciate that.
All right. Any other questions from board members? Hearing none, Mr. Whitford, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Maison?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Eladi?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Thank you. We're going to move on now to finance. Mr. Bogosian.
We did not have a, it's not on either. We did not have a Finance Committee meeting since our last full board meeting. Tonight on the agenda, we have 8 motions to consider. I would like to move motions 1 through 8 under Finance.
All right. We have a second. Mr. Sprayberry. Questions, comments, discussion on finance?
Can you just comment about the St. Mary stuff?
Yeah,
just-
motions 5 through 8.
Yeah.
We're a pass-through, so the money comes from the state or federal to us, and every year.
All right. Other questions?
Sorry about that, Mr. Whitford.
No, you got it.
That's just,
He's just showing off
We got-
now.
we got
The finance stuff I talk about.
he gets all these accolades. I remember, I know something about this stuff.
All right. Any other discussion or questions? All right. Hearing none. Mr. Whitford, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes,
Mr. Maison?
Abstention on 5, yes to all others.
Noted. Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Lottie?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
All right. Thank you. We'll move on now to policy. Mr. Healy.
Yes, we did not have a policy committee meeting since our last board meeting. Tonight, as a second reading, there's one resolution with 12 and/or policies and regulations as listed being put forth as a second reading.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Healy, for putting those forward. Do we have a second on that, Mr. Conti? Questions or discussion? This is the second reading that we're approving. All right. Hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Healy. Mr. Whitford, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
yes,
Mr. Maison?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Lottie?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
All right. We'll move on now to buildings and grounds. Mr. Sprayberry.
We did not have a meeting since the last full board meeting, and there are no items on the agenda.
All right. Then we will move on to old business. Any old business? I assume there will be at some point.
I saw
Ms.
the
Jones.
Lyndhurst Rutherford volleyball game, and all the teams won. the varsity, JV, and the freshman won.
All right.
So that's a big achievement for
Awesome.
Rutherford beating Lyndhurst. They're always good.
I'm impressed that you already had an old business report. I didn't think it was possible with the 4 days of school.
Gee.
Right. Awesome. Any other old business? All right, we'll move on to legislative update.
I found one that's actually 50%. Usually, every time I start reading these, they're always introduced, and that means they've moved 25% on their way to passage if it goes that far. This one was introduced November 18th, 2024, and it's at 50%, and this is New Jersey Senate Bill 3858, sponsored by Anthony Bucco from Morris and Passaic County. Requires school bus personnel members to call 911 emergency line in potential life-saving emergencies. Requires either school buses transporting students with disabilities to be equipped with certain safety features. Kind of seems common sense. Maybe that's why it's at 50%.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. One quick legislative update. You know, I've been mentioning a couple of meetings. I mentioned it tonight about this committee, this ad hoc committee that we had a meeting scheduled down in Trenton next week with a legislative committee to talk about the 18 to 21 graduation I referred to before. And we were notified last week, 2 weeks before the meeting, that the committee they're not going to have any subcommittee hearings until after the election. So I won't editorialize on that, but you know, it seemed like they knew when the election was when they set the meeting back in June. And of course, the election, then there's December, then there's inaugural, then there's getting up and running, which equals to another school year goes by before we even get heard. So it was a little frustrating. The committee's still going to meet next week to figure out how we can voice our opinion about the cancellation. So just want to let you know.
All right. Just real quick, going back to old business. So homecoming is on Saturday, October 4th. And for the last couple of years, the members of the Board of Education have been invited to walk in the homecoming parade. So would love to get a strong showing Saturday, October 4th. What's the time we'd have to meet in the morning?
I
Like
have to
around
double
10?
check because as an SAT,
Okay.
it's usually like 11, but with the SAT, it's probably going to be a little later. We do have a meeting on the 29th, so I'll double check the time and get it out to you, no later than the packet going out before the 29th, but sooner if I can.
Okay. So by next meeting, just be prepared to talk about whether you think you can come or not, just so we can let Mr. Morano know in terms of folks walking. All right? Nice opportunity to be visible and supportive. All right. Then at 7:36 p.m., we're going to open the meeting again to the public for anything related to or not related to the agenda. And hearing nothing, we are going to close the meeting at 7:36 p.m. We have no need for an executive session, which means we entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Bogosian, seconded by Mrs. Cole. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.